Chapter 11. Fire attack. Shen Jie saw the mouse suddenly disappear from his eyes. After it was completely wrapped in hair and drained of blood, the body reappeared and was finally dragged into the hair. Suddenly Shen Jie realized that Chang Shengnan and Xiao He, who disappeared in the women's toilet on the 19th floor, might not have disappeared, but had become invisible, due to the influence of their hair. When the hair completely wraps them up and drains the blood from their bodies, they will end up like the mice in the hair. What should I do? Shen Jie was a little worried, but found that he seemed to be helpless. Although there are systems, characteristics, and even a weapon with characteristics, there is none that can change the situation at this time. Although Shen Jie was thinking about countermeasures in his mind, he still kept taking action. After learning from the system that the strange characteristic was immobility, he kept reminding himself that he could not stand still. Regardless of whether it works or not, it's always good to be careful. Seeing that his energy is about to be exhausted and the silent state is about to disappear, Shen Jie wonders if this weird mass will ignore him after the silence disappears. He must hurry up. Without any time to think, Shen Jie grabbed the fire extinguisher and sprayed it into the water tank, but it had no effect on the hair clumps. Suddenly, there was a soft sound from the fire extinguisher and a sound appeared, which meant that Shen Jie's mental power was exhausted and the silent state was automatically cancelled. Sure enough, in the next second, the hair in the reservoir rolled towards the fire extinguisher nozzle in Shen Singer. At the same time, Shen Jie felt a slight dizziness and quickly grabbed the armrest with his hand. At the same time, he raised the fire extinguisher with the other hand and threw it directly at the hairball. However, the fire extinguisher was easily caught in the weird hair and dragged in. Hair in clumps. Seeing the clumps of hair swimming up the edge of the bucket, Shen Jie didn't dare to stay here any longer, so he let go of the escalator and jumped down. Shen Jie fell to the ground, gritted his teeth, got up and ran. At the same time, I looked back and saw strands of hair slowly crawling out from the edge of the reservoir. Shen Jie rushed under the water storage tank, tightened the valve of the water storage tank, and opened the drainage holes at the four corners, trying to drain all the water inside. On the one hand, it prevents hair from continuing to pass through the drainage holes to the floor below. On the other hand, this thing likes to be soaked in water. Regardless of whether it is useful or not, drain the water first.
What are you afraid of about your hair? There must be a weakness in this thing.
That's what he said, but Shen Jie also knew that if the weirdness was so easy to deal with, then the world wouldn't be the end of the world in 3 years. Running into the elevator, Shen Jie looked at the button for the first floor. He hesitated for a second, but finally pressed the button for the 19th floor. The host is wise and courageous, invincible, bravely fights level 5 weirdness, characteristic. Immobile, and successfully escapes from the weird lair, and is rewarded with 50 system points x 50. Rushing back to the office, Shen Jie took out the spirit apple from his cross-body bag and nibbled the apple until there was only one core left to restore his mental energy. System, lottery. Shen Jie now has 111 system points. At this time, there is nothing he can do about the level 5 weirdness, but actually the level 1, immobility, he can only pin his hopes on the lottery. As long as you draw something that can deal with weird things, I will call you a foster father. Ding. Congratulations to the host for drawing free attribute points, 1%. Fuck, Gasoon. I knew I couldn't count on you. What to do? The only system he could count on failed to create miracles. Shen Jie's heart sank, and he quickly recalled the weaknesses of hair. Fire? You can only treat a dead horse as a living horse doctor. Shen Jie rummaged through the drawer of the next table. He remembered that Lao Jiao was a big smoker and stuffed several lighters in the drawer, euphemistically calling it, prepared for anything. Shen Jie found a lighter, went to the storage room to get a few bottles of alcohol, and then rushed to the bathroom with a pile of A4 paper. While running, I crumpled the A4 into a ball of paper. Boom. Shen Jie directly opened the bathroom door and glanced under the sink, but still couldn't see anything. However, at this time, a faint rancid smell could be faintly smelled. Shen Jie was suddenly a little strange. If Chang Shengnan and Xiao He were caught in the hair and disappeared, then he could see the hair in the reservoir. Why couldn't they see it here? It can't be that those long hair belong to women, so they are only effective for women. Men can only see them at a close distance, right? Shen Jie couldn't figure it out and simply gave it up. He turned on silent and entered the women's restroom. He crumpled the A4 in his hand and threw it under the sink. He opened the lid of the alcohol and sprinkled it on. Shen Jie lit the lighter and put a little bit on the A4 paper ball sprinkled with alcohol. The paper ball and alcohol under the sink were instantly ignited. Then Shen Jie was surprised to find that the flames burned under the drainpipe, and then something invisible was also ignited. The flames seemed to ignite an invisible thread, forming a line of fire in the air, and then 2 screams were heard. Ah, ah! Chang Shangnan and Xiao He suddenly appeared. They kept shaking their feet and slapping their calves, trying to shake off the flames wrapped around their feet. Seeing this, Shen Jie grabbed one with one hand and pulled the 2 out of the bathroom first. The 3 of them ran back to the office. Xiao He threw himself into Shen Jie's arms and started crying loudly. Wow, brother Shen. I thought you ran away and ignored us. It scared me to death. It scared me to death. Chang Shangnan was also in shock, stroking his chest and breathing heavily. Then, what on earth is that? I saw a strand of hair sticking out of the sewer. When it touched my feet, I couldn't move. And as long as it was after your hair gets tangled, people around you can't see yourself. This is the case for Xiao He, and it's the same for me. It is indeed hair. But why can I see the hair in the water tank but not the hair in the bathroom? Shen Jie helped Xiao He sit down on a chair and said, You 2 suddenly disappeared from my eyes. I wanted to go find the security guard, but I was worried about wasting time. I thought of Xiao He saying in the morning that the smell was the worst under the sink. I thought that no matter if it is dirty or not, it must be afraid of fire, so I would like to light a fire first and try it. Brother Shen, you are so awesome, you even know this kind of thing. Shen Jie said. Oh, that's how it's done in movies. What movie? Chang Shangnan asked subconsciously. Shen Jie said, Uncle Ying's movie. Chang Shangnan looked towards the bathroom and asked hesitantly. Now, what should I do now? Wait for the police to come up. Will the police believe it? Xiao He said worriedly. Shen Jie said. It doesn't matter whether the police believe it or not. What's important is that the thing is still in the bathroom. For safety's sake, it's best to leave here first. Yes, yes, yes. Xiao He's head was nodding like a woodpecker. She didn't want to stay in the company for a moment now. Chang Shangnan also felt that what Shen Jie said made sense, but when she and Xiao He were about to walk towards the elevator, they saw Shen Jie running directly back to the office. Where are you going? Chang Shangnan asked. Shen Jie said without looking back. You 2 go downstairs first. I still have some things I want to confirm. Leave me alone. Shen Jie, but... Xiao He hesitated. Chang Shangnan asked. Do you need help? No need, it'll be down soon, you go down first. Chapter 12. Will this burn you to death? This. Mr. Chang, what should I do? Xiao He looked at Chang Shangnan and asked. But in his heart he sighed that brother Shen's curiosity was terrible. Knowing that the toilet is haunted, you still don't think of a way to escape. But then I thought about it, if it wasn't for Shen Jie's curiosity, I would have run away at that time, and I and Mr. Chang would probably have been too cold. Chang Shangnan frowned slightly and seemed to be thinking seriously. Let's go down first. Aren't we going to help brother Shen? He saved us. Xiao He hesitated. Chang Shangnan said, it would be good if we follow up and don't hold us back. We also help. Let's go, Shen Jie has his own plan. Oh. After the 2 of them walked into the elevator, Shen Jie also ran to the storage room in the office area and took out the trolley usually used to move heavy objects. I sorted out a few large empty cartons and placed them neatly on the cart. I collected all the useless paper in the office area and threw them into the cartons. Are there only 4 bottles of alcohol left? Shen Jie found a few bottles and tried to make a simple Molotov cocktail, when a text message sounded on his phone. Shen Jie picked it up and took a look. It was from Chang Shangnan, saying that they had gone downstairs and were waiting. If they needed help, they could call or send text messages. Shen Jie replied with a good word, and then continued to work on his own, real earthen Molotov cocktail. After finishing it, he pushed the trolley to the 33rd floor. Warn. 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 The host is about to enter a level 5 weird, characteristic, immobile, lair. The host's current attributes are definitely no match for him. Please leave this area quickly and don't lose your life in vain. Shen Jie lit a fire stick made of a towel soaked in alcohol before approaching the door. Shen Jie took a few deep breaths, suppressed the tension in his heart, and raised his hand to slowly open the rooftop door. As soon as he opened the rooftop door, Shen Jie noticed the hair in the distance slowly crawling towards the door. The strange thing was that the hair could be clearly seen from the distance from the water tank to the center of the rooftop, but further away the previous bit of hair was no longer visible, as if it had suddenly disappeared. I see. Shen Jie finally understood why he could see the hair on the roof, but not the hair in the bathroom on the 19th floor. The reason was distance. Because when faced with a weird that does not create a weird field, the system requires Shen Jie to be close to the weird for a certain distance before a warning appears. This is because the weird ability changes with distance. The system's early warning will naturally be activated when Shen Jie is in danger. Shen Jie dragged the trolley onto the rooftop. When he saw the hair in the distance crawling towards the door, he quickly turned on the silent feature. The moment Shen Jie turned on silent, the hair crawling toward the door stopped moving. This is also why Shen Jie didn't turn on silence before opening the door. He wanted to find out the law of this strange characteristic. This is just Shen Jie's simple guess. After all, this guy with no nose or eyes has no other way except to rely on sound and vibration to lock the target. Of course, if Shen Jie's hair still gathers towards him after turning on silent, then he will immediately turn around and leave, and write a resignation letter before getting off the elevator. Although the hair didn't move anymore, Shen Jie didn't know whether the situation with Chang Shengnan and Xiao He would happen if he touched the hair. To be on the safe side, Shen Jie pushed the cart around a large open space at the door to prevent invisible hair. Shen Jie walked forward, and the hair that could be seen in the distance was also moving, but it was retreating. It was obvious that they were afraid of the torch in Shen Jie's hand. Shen Jie lit the first carton with a torch, raised the carton and smashed it in front. The burning paper ****** in the carton turned into fireballs and rolled out. The hair around him suddenly seemed to have seen a nemesis and immediately moved towards the water storage. The jar shrank back. Shen Jie continued to push the cart closer, using cardboard boxes and burning paper ***** to push the weirdness back into the water tank step by step. When they pushed it all the way under the water storage tank, there were only 3 cardboard boxes left. Shen Jie placed the cartons under the water storage tank in a triangle shape, and then lit them. Then he climbed up to the water tank with the only 2 Molotov cocktails. There were still 2 minutes of silence, and that was all he could do. If he couldn't deal with the weirdness, he could only hand it over to the police. In fact, Shen Jie didn't want to hand over the weird things to the police. On the one hand, he wanted the weird corpse in exchange for a reward, and on the other hand, he wanted to hand it over to the police. So, would he tell him about his discovery of the weird characteristics? If you don't say it, it will undoubtedly leave others to die. Said, meaning he is likely to be closely watched by the authorities. Shen Jie climbed up to the water tank, lit the Molotov cocktail in his hand, and smashed it towards the top center of the hairball. It took less than 20 minutes from the time Shen Jie discovered the strangeness of level 1 hiding here, to the time he went down to rescue Chang Shengnan and then came back. This hairball was almost 2 meters in diameter at the beginning, and now it has grown to 3 meters in diameter. The disgusting rancid smell became much more obvious. Shen Jie, who was lying next to the water tank at this moment, felt like he was buried alive together with hundreds of sick pigs. Vomit. Vomit. Shen Jie was glad that he didn't have the habit of drinking afternoon tea, otherwise he would have vomited it all out now. At this time, the hairball ignited by the Molotov cocktail burned a third of the body in an instant, and the entire hairball was shrinking at a speed visible to the naked eye. But the alcohol in the office is not a high-concentration special alcohol. Because these hairs have been soaked in water before, it is more difficult to burn. Shen Jie endured the disgusting stench and lit the second Molotov cocktail. The silent flame once again engulfed Wei Yi, who was now less than half the size. Seeing that the fire in the second Molotov cocktail was almost finished, Shen Jie glanced around and saw the net hanging on the side of the water tank, which was used to salvage the garbage in the water tank. Grabbed the net and fished it down. He fished Wei Yi, which was only 1/3 of its original size, out of the water storage tank and smashed it against the burning cardboard box below. Shen Jie immediately jumped down, used a net to sweep the paper boxes and paper that had turned into a fire towards Wei Yi, and buried Wei Yi in the fire. Will this still burn you to death? The hairball shrunk in the fire at a speed visible to the naked eye, and soon there was only a fist-sized mass of rat with a lot of long hair wrapped around it. The host kills level 5 weirdness, characteristic, immobile, and can sell the weird corpse to obtain system points to extract various equipment and props. It can also be swallowed by the system to extract characteristic abilities. Strange, characteristic, immobile, worth 7,000 system points. Swallowing strange things, you can extract characteristics. It is only one level higher than silent, and the price has doubled. Although 70 consecutive draws is very tempting, Shen Jie is also afraid that the Gasoon system will come with a guaranteed package. To be on the safe side, he should devour it first. After all, he also cares about the effect of a movement. Swallow. Chapter 13. Characteristic, immovable. Level 5 inches weirdness, characteristic. Immovable, was successfully swallowed, and the characteristic, immovable, was extracted. This characteristic will be fused in a form more suitable for the host, and the host attribute panel has been updated. Shen Jie opened the properties panel to view the effect of immobile. Immobile. When the user is in the stationary state, the user can control the shadow to restrain the target that is also in the stationary state. According to the target's rating, quantity and distance, the maximum distance does not exceed 10 meters. Every second the mental power consumed is different, 10% to 100%. Isn't this a low-end version of shadow imitation? Not only does the shadow imitation technique not have the effect of forcing the target to imitate its own movements, but it also has several more restrictions. However, Shen Jie feels that this feature is still very valuable. Although both parties need to be in a stationary state when using it, it is just an additional activation condition before use. After all, he can remain stationary at any time. All are satisfied. And when the enemy does not know the effects and limitations of the immobility characteristic, it can have the effect of taking it by surprise and attacking it unprepared. After all, the enemy doesn't know the limit of a movement and can even use it as a bluff. That weird corpse at level 5 is a rat, and it's covered in long hair. Is this why the long-distance effect is only effective on women? Since Shen Jie is more cautious, he always maintains a silent state when facing level 5 weirdness at close range. So until he kills immovable, he doesn't know if Chang Shengnan will appear if he gets entangled in his hair. And Xiao He's situation. Shen Jie will definitely not try this kind of thing. Although he is quite curious, he will not risk his own life to verify it. However, the system said that I should fuse immobility in a state that is more suitable for me. There are still several restrictions after the fusion, and the 5th level weird characteristics will also have usage restrictions. Shen Jie was thinking as he used a net to put out the unburned fire around him, gathered the ashes together, and pulled up the cart and went downstairs. The crisis mission, Escape from the Level 5 Strange Lair, has been completed. The host has successfully escaped from the Level 5 Strange Lair with a narrow escape from death. He is both wise and brave, and is invincible. The host is rewarded with double system points 100. As soon as he left the rooftop, Shen Jie received a notification from the system that the crisis mission had been completed. Shen Jie looked at the taskbar when the system tasks were updated today. There was only one daily task in the taskbar: collect supplies for 7 days. He originally planned to take some things back to the nearby supermarket after work, but he didn't expect that there would be more at this moment. A crisis mission. Thinking about it, it should be similar to the situation when he killed the level 4 weirdo and escaped from the level 4 weird's lair. It was triggered when he came to the rooftop, but at that time, Shen Jie was only thinking about how to solve this weird thing, that is, no attention tasks appear. No matter what, it is always good to get 100 more system points in the lottery. While waiting for the elevator, Shensong received another text message on her phone, again from Chang Shengnan. We brought the police up, are you still in the office? Police? I am fine, I am getting ready to go back to the office. Shen Jie pulled the trolley back to the 19th floor. When the elevator door opened, he saw Chang Shengnan and Xiao He at the elevator entrance, with 2 policemen standing next to them. Little girl, you should be moderate when joking with your colleagues in the future. You see, your colleagues were frightened and they even called the police. An older police officer was educating Xiaohe. Chang Shengnan on the side also kept apologizing. When several people saw Shen Jie coming out of the elevator, the two policemen instinctively looked at him. Hey, you guys haven't left yet? Shen Jie looked at Chang Shengnan deliberately and asked. Chang Shengnan replied, there's a little misunderstanding. Well, I'm sorry to trouble you, comrade police. We'll pay more attention to it in the future, so I'd like to thank you for making a trip. It's okay, this is our responsibility. After several people sent the police away, Xiaohe asked nervously, Brother Shen, where have you been? We were worried that something might happen to you. We met the police who came to investigate downstairs, so we quickly brought him up. Mr. Chang was worried about you. Trapped in the bathroom too. After Xiaohe's explanation, Shen Jie realized that Chang Shengnan and Xiaohe did not leave after going down, but were waiting in the lobby. Chang Shengnan was worried. At this time, she received another call from the police. This time it was from the film police, asking if she had found her colleague and saying that she was already on her way. Chang Shengnan thought for a moment and told the police officer that he had not found his colleagues yet. After the police said they would come right away, they hung up the phone. After hanging up the phone, Chang Shengnan told Xiaohe to just make the mistake. She went to the 19th floor to wait. When Xiaohe saw the police coming, he took them to the toilet on the 19th floor to look for her on the grounds of misunderstanding. While clearing up misunderstandings, you can also test whether there is really a problem with the bathroom. After Chang Shengnan repeatedly told Xiaohe to remember Shen Jie's method of rescuing them, he first went to the 19th floor and then sent a text message asking about Shen Jie's situation. When he learned that Shen Jie was not in the restroom on the 19th floor, he came out to meet Xiaohe and the police and explained the misunderstanding. If she explained the misunderstanding to the police downstairs, then the police would most likely not come up. In other words, if Chang Shengnan did not receive a text message from Shen Jie, or if Shen Jie asked her for help, she would lead the police into the bathroom. Shen Jie couldn't help but sigh that Chang Shengnan was so courageous that he dared to return to the 19th floor under such circumstances. Brother Shen, aren't you going to solve the ghost wall? Xiaohe looked at the cart behind Shen Jie and asked curiously. I'm not Uncle Ying, so I don't have the ability to do this. I was thinking that Lao Zhang asked me to help deal with the waste files before, so I got off work early today, so I just took care of it. Shen Jie made up a reason casually. Xiaohe was shocked. Brother Shen, you still handle the work after something like this happens. Aren't you afraid? Behave upright and do not do bad things, and don't be afraid of ghosts knocking on your door, Shen Jie said. Xiaohe was greatly impressed and couldn't help but sigh that it was Shen Jie who had such positive energy. However, he still expressed that he was scared and asked Chang Shengnan if it was possible to move his office. I will apply to the superiors. The company has already planned to save the budget. They will not refuse to move to an office that is not that good. After saying this, Chang Shengnan glanced at Shen Jie with a strange expression. It was obvious that Shen Jie's the words can only fool the little girl. Chang Shengnan guessed that Shen Jie dared to cause trouble in the office, and he still pulled the trolley around calmly. Obviously he had his own confidence. What's more, he could think of using that method to rescue himself and Xiaohe from the strange state, which made Chang Shengnan think that Shen Jie didn't really understand ghost hunting. Did Shen Jie's ancestors have Taoist priests with profound Taoism? No matter what, Shen Jie was her savior. Since the other party didn't want to say more, she wouldn't dwell on the issue. Chapter 14. The missing king Shen Jie didn't talk much about the haunted bathroom, nor did he deliberately explain his weird behavior. Even if Chang Shengnan and Xiaohe told his weird behavior, it was based on the ghost breaking the wall thing. In other words, others must trust you. In the 21st century, all Taoist priests are selling glutinous rice and fried rice. Things like ghosts breaking down walls are only circulated on the internet and will only become a topic of conversation after dinner. Ghost? Look at the balance of your savings card and you won't be afraid. After all, jobs in funeral parlors, which you could avoid before, can now be squeezed over the threshold if you make 500 a day, and you need to be recommended by acquaintances. If the business reaches 1,000 a day, don't be afraid. If you don't wake up the customer at night and chat a few words, you won't be able to afford the salary. When the sales volume reaches 5,000 a day, in the middle of the night when the atmosphere is the heaviest, I have to dance a song with my customers. Shen Jie has understood since entering society that there is only one kind of ghost in this world. Poor ghost. If the system hadn't stopped him yesterday, he would definitely have walked twice in Tom's Mall, not to mention having close contact with the 7th level weirdness, but at least to finish picking up the wool of bravely entering the 7th level weird lair. Leaving the company, Shen Jie went to the nearest small supermarket and bought a box of instant noodles of different flavors, Hong Niu, Lei Bai and other drinks. After completing his daily tasks, he returned to the community. The host has both wisdom and bravery and extraordinary courage. He broke into Dongcheng district alone where there were 7-level strange existences and escaped unscathed. He successfully collected 7 days worth of supplies. Reward double system points x100, random F-level supplies x1. Do you want to withdraw the reward? No. As for the special effect of white light flashing, every time you draw and withdraw rewards, it's really hard to explain unless Shen Jie plans to change his profession to become a magician tomorrow. Shen Jie walked into the community carrying his things. He wanted to talk to Lao Wang, but he didn't know that it was not Lao Wang who was patrolling the community today, but the new security guard Zhang Wei. Shen Jie greeted Zhang Wei and asked casually, "It's your turn to patrol today." Hey, Lao Wang was originally patrolling this week, but Lao Wang asked for leave today. Ask for leave? You're surprised, aren't you? When I came here, I heard that Lao Wang is a model worker in the security department. He has never asked for leave in 5 years, and he actually asked for leave today. The old captain was very surprised when he mentioned this. Shen Jie frowned when he heard this, wondering if there was any connection between Lao Wang's request for leave and his status as a level 5 weird 4 years later. After all, the level 5 weird immobility that appeared in the company today will also be level 5 in 4 years, but it has already appeared in the form of level 1 weirdness. Lao Wang is also level 5, so it is not surprising that something will happen. 3 heads and 6 arms. Could it be that he will look like Neza? Shen Jie thought to himself. If he had 3 heads and 6 arms, he would be invited to the scientific research department for tea if he was found to have 1 more head. If Lao Wang really wants to mutate, would you like to take some time to see it? To be honest, Shen Jie was a little confused. After all, Lao Wang was a living person, not a small animal like a wild cat or mouse that would not attract attention even if killed. In today's big cities where the internet is everywhere and the investigation system is updated every year, if you really want to kill someone, you will be invited to the bureau for tea within 24 hours. Of course, the rich and powerful are not within the scope of the discussion. As for letting the system eat the corpse directly, Shen Jie raised his hand and patted his forehead to stop himself from continuing with this idea. Shen Jie took a long breath and suddenly understood the villains in movies and TV shows who would do anything for power. The word power really has a dangerous temptation. Shen Jie remembered a survey that was very popular on the internet some time ago. What would happen if you gained superhuman strength? The comment with the most likes is, "On the first day, I am the Superman who maintains world peace. The next day, I am a native of the motherland. On the third day, I want eat beef." It would be a terrible thing to be lost in power. Shen Jie chatted with Zhang Wei and tried to find out about Lao Wang's changes in condition in the past few days. However, in Zhang Wei's eyes, there was nothing special about Lao Wang other than asking for leave today. Shen Jie carried his things home and put away the things he bought. He saw 3 boxes of instant noodles and several buckets of drinking water next to the cabinet. He just begged the system not to let him open a doomsday minimart. System, extract rewards. Rewards are being drawn. Extraction successful. Obtain, internal injury healing pill X3, level F. There was a flash of white light, and a small medicine bottle the size of asterisk appeared on the coffee table, with the label, Yunnan Baiyao, on the bottle. Shen Jie picked it up, opened the bottle cap, and poured the pills inside onto the bottle cap, exactly 3 pills. Internal injury healing pill, level F. After taking it, it can quickly heal non-fatal internal injuries and is effective for most moderate internal injuries. 10 seconds healing. Combined with a band-aid, it can be used internally and externally. However, Shen Jie is still a little regretful that he could not get a recovery product such as Spirit Apple that can restore his mental power. After all, of the two characteristics, immobility consumes more mental power. Without the blessing of the mental apple, he would become the man who counts seconds. After some thought, Shen Jie directly added 3% of the free distribution points to the spirit. The 3-second multi-refreshing feature is currently more cost-effective than the force-sensitive body. System point lottery. After completing the daily routine, the system points exceeded 100. After Shen Jie faced Wei Yi's immobility today, he became more convinced that humans are weak in front of Wei Yi. If Wei Yi does not become stronger as soon as possible when Wei Yi is still a cub, he will wait until Wei Yi grows up. Then we can only wait to die. Exercise is a long-term thing. If you want to become stronger immediately, you can only rely on system draws. Do you want to consume 100 system points for a lottery draw? Although there is only one chance this time, the ceremony cannot be omitted. Shen Jie turned on the computer and found the God of Gamblers appearance song to play. Smoke. Prizes are being drawn. Ding. Congratulations to the host for drawing free attribute points, 3%. Although it is not a guaranteed attribute of 1%, it is not a big surprise. It seems that the God of Gamblers entrance song is not as reliable as Good Luck Comes. Shen Jie conveniently added the 3% free attribute points to his spirit, opened the attribute panel, and checked his own attributes. Rating. None basic attributes. Power 90%. Agility 81%. Physique 73%. Spirit 165%. Characteristics. Silent. After use, it can enter a silent state, consuming 0.5% energy per second, and can be activated at the same time as other features. Immobile. When the user is in the stationary state, the user can control the shadow to restrain the target that is also in the stationary state. According to the target's rating, quantity and distance, the maximum distance does not exceed 10 meters. Every second the mental power consumed is different, 10% to 100%. Skills known system points 11 freely allocated points, 0. Alas. Shen Jie looked at the butcher's knife, band-aids and medicine bottles on the coffee table. The latter two were fine, just put them in his pocket. As for the butcher knife, you don't even have a portable space, your system is so low. Shen Jie couldn't help complaining about this issue again. Ask the host to work hard to improve the rating, and the system will unlock more functions. The rating is still level 0. Shen Jie frowned when he saw the rating on the attribute panel. There were two characteristics, and it was unreasonable not to increase the rating. System, make a new rating. Rate the current status of the host. The rating result is level 0. I have a level 4 characteristic and a level 5 characteristic, but the rating is still 0? The rating result is correct. Are features not included in the rating criteria? Factors that affect the host's combat effectiveness will be included in the rating, including but not limited to basic attributes, characteristics, equipment, personal items, etc. Then my two characteristics can't be upgraded? The rating result is correct. System, sing a song by Jay Cho. Shen Jie said angrily. He didn't understand that if characteristics would be included in the combat power rating, level 4 and level 5 should be considered very strong characteristics. Why couldn't they even be rated as level 1? Unfortunately, the system does not have consciousness and cannot give the precise answer Shen Jie wants. Is it because the basic attributes haven't reached the standard yet? Shen Jie picked up his phone and looked at the time. It was less than 8 o'clock. In that case, let's exercise. Strive to raise the attribute values to the average value as soon as possible. Thinking of this, Shen Jie went downstairs to eat a bowl of noodles, and then ran around the community. After just 2 laps, he suddenly thought that Lao Wang's house seemed to be nearby, not far away. Shen Jie was still a little concerned about Lao Wang's situation, so he ran all the way to where Lao Wang lived and knocked on the door. The person who opened the door was Lao Wang's wife Aunt Li. She had walked with Lao Wang in the community where Shen Jie lived before, and Shen Jie had met her several times. Hey, you are Xiao Shen. Aunt Li opened the door and was a little surprised to see Shen Jie standing outside. Shen Jie handed the apple he just bought on the way to Aunt Li and said, Aunt Li, I heard that Uncle Wang is on sick leave. I came to see Uncle Wang. Aunt Li looked at Shen Jie with a strange look on her face and said doubtfully, sick leave? Didn't Lao Wang say that the work unit organized a trip to go out and have fun for a few days? Travel? Chapter 15, Chang Shangnan's Guess. Travel? Our poor community had a big quarrel with the property management company 2 years ago over the property management fee. Can the property management company afford the security department to travel? Hearing this, Shen Jie suddenly felt that the reason given by Lao Wang was too far-fetched. Could it be that he was really dragged into sectioning because of the mutation? Is that so? Maybe I heard it wrong. Aunt Li, I'll leave first, Shen Jie said apologetically. It's okay, you also care about Lao Wang. This apple. Aunt Li replied with a smile, and was about to hand the apple back. If you keep it, just think of it as a thank you to Uncle Wang for the oranges. Those oranges are quite sweet. Shen Jie waved with a smile and walked downstairs. Thank you then. It's okay, Aunt Li, please go back. Shen Jie came out of the stairwell with a frown on his face. He always felt that something was wrong about Lao Wang's sudden disappearance, but it was obvious that this matter was beyond his control. Shen Jie ran for a while near the community where Lao Wang lived. There was no systematic warning, so he went back to continue running laps for exercise. I ran home until almost 10 o'clock, exhausted and out of breath, and my physical strength increased from 73% to 75%. Shen Jie originally wanted to modify the design, but he only had various weird-related questions in his mind, so he simply browsed the website, trying to find some weird-related news. It was early morning in a blink of an eye. Congratulations to the host for surviving another day in a world full of weirdness. The reward is 1% of freely distributed points and 10 system points. Shen Jie continued to add 1% of the free points to his spirit, then opened the diary and took a look, and then checked today's daily tasks. On January 5, 2028, the organization rewarded you for the intelligence you brought back, and gave you 3 days of leave to let you have a good rest. You began to exercise through the system's task function, and at the same time found an opportunity to test your silent ability. In the apocalypse, weird things are rampant, and a strong body is what you rely on to survive. Please complete 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and 10 kilometers of running, before 12 noon tomorrow. And the reward will be basic attributes, 50 system points. The log was nothing special, but the daily tasks surprised Shen Jie. They were not resource collection, but exercise tasks. Even if there is no task, Shen Jie still exercises every day, so after washing, he went back to the bedroom to rest, and got up early the next day. The first 3 exercises may seem simple, but completing them can cost Shen Jie his life. Including the rest time, I struggled for almost 2 hours and finally finished the first 3 exercises, leaving only 10 kilometers to run. When he left home, Shen Jie's legs were already trembling. He lived less than 10 kilometers away from the company, so he could only use the map on his mobile phone to calculate a 10-kilometer route and take a detour to get to the company. Shen Jie, who has rarely been late for several years after joining the company, was almost 2 hours late for the first time. During this period, his colleagues called to ask if he planned to take leave. Shen Jie could only take 2 hours of leave because of a stomachache. When Shen Jie walked into the company with a pale face and held onto the wall, his colleagues really thought that he was about to collapse from diarrhea at home, but he still insisted on going to work. A model worker. Under the apocalypse, weird things are rampant, and a strong body is what you rely on to survive. If you successfully complete today's exercise, you will get strength plus 1%, agility plus 1%, constitution plus 3%, and reward system points x 50. Shen Jie sat down at his workstation, and a system prompt rang in his mind. It's like this, why don't you just take a day off and have a good rest? Lao Jiao, a colleague sitting next to Shen Jie, asked with concern. Forget it, the plan hasn't been completed yet, the information is all in the computer. If we don't do it now, we will have to work overtime later. Shen Jie sighed. That's right, who calls you a pillar? Look at me, I only take 1 order a month, and I can do it all while lying down. I envy you. Lao Jiao said with emotion. Shall we exchange? Shen Jie asked. Lao Jiao quickly waved his hand and refused. No, you are young and in good health, and I am afraid of sudden death. By the way, Mr. Chang asked me to make the call just now. She cares about you very much. You have 3 plans in your hand. See if she cares about you. Seeing Mr. Zhao winking, Shen Jie was too lazy to pay attention to him, turned on the computer and immersed himself in revising the plan. Shen Jie, come to my office. Mr. Chen's plan still needs to be revised. At this time, Chang Shangnan's office door opened and he said to Shen Jie. Shen Jie stood up, picked up the folder and was about to leave. Lao Jiao raised his eyebrows at him. Are you really going to change the plan? Would you like to change your life by the way? For example, 3 more plans will be added this month. Shen Jie asked expressionlessly. Lao Jiao quickly begged for mercy. Brother, I was wrong. Shen Jie walked into Chang Shangnan's office with the plan in hand. Chang Shangnan pointed to the place opposite the desk and asked with concern, are you okay with your health? It's okay, maybe I ate something bad yesterday. Oh. I see Xiao he didn't go to work today, Shen Jie asked. Chang Shangnan nodded. I guess there is still a psychological impact from what happened yesterday. She called me early this morning and asked me to take a few days off. Listen to what she meant. If the company doesn't move the address, there is a high probability that she will not come back. As for I have already applied to the higher-ups for moving my address. What about you? Shen Jie asked curiously when he saw that Chang Shangnan was no different from usual, talking and doing his work in an orderly manner. Chang Shangnan was silent for a while and said calmly, so far, I haven't dared to drink a sip of water. Shen Jie was stunned, and his expression suddenly became a little subtle. Chang Shangnan sighed. Just laugh if you want to. Chang Shangnan handed the 3 files to Shen Jie expressionlessly. This is the latest plan modification request from Mr. Chen, Mr. Zhao, and Mr. Luo. You should work overtime today to complete them. Shen Jie was stunned. Today? I can't even make it through 3 days of overtime. Hey, our company is upright, but we can't avenge ourselves. Chang Shangnan stared at the computer screen and typed on the keyboard, and said lightly, give it to me next week. Hey, let me tell you, if our branch has a wise general manager like Mr. Cheng who considers his employees in everything, he will definitely prosper and surpass the head office in no time. Before Shen Jie could finish his words, he was interrupted by Chang Shangnan. Flattery is not suitable for you. Oh. Keep Mr. Luo's plan. I was the one who worked on his last villa, and I know his style well. I'll help you do it, and I'll give you a commission. As a thank you for yesterday. Ah. That one is not enough. I remember that Mr. Zhao was also Mr. Cheng's client before. Shen Jie raised his nose and pushed the second folder over silently. Chang Shangnan's eyes twitched. Shen Jie looked at her expectantly. Chang Shangnan sighed. Let it go. Thank you, Mr. Cheng. I'll treat you to dinner later. You can choose any restaurant in Rongxi. Shen Jie finally stood up with Mr. Chen's new revision plan and prepared to leave the office. Please. Chang Shangnan stopped Shen Jie who was about to leave. Shen Jie was stunned for a moment. Have you thought of it so quickly? What was that yesterday? Chang Shangnan finally couldn't restrain his curiosity and asked the doubts in his heart. Shen Jie looked at Chang Shangnan and asked, Mr. Chang, have you heard of Top 10 Unsolved Mysteries in the World? I heard it. Chang Shangnan nodded and his expression became serious. Shen Jie said seriously, it has nothing to do with that, but it's almost the same thing. But remember, there will only be more and more such things in the future. When you encounter something beyond your understanding, you must stay away immediately and then call the police. This is not something we ordinary people can solve. Are you also an ordinary person? Certainly. Then yesterday. It's just a coincidence. Shen Jie smiled, turned around and walked out of the office. Looking at the closed door, Chang Shangnan's expression became solemn, as if he was thinking about Shen Jie's words. At the same time, he also felt that Shen Jie's identity was becoming more and more mysterious. Could it be that he is really a master of the world? Shen Jie, who came out of the office, obviously didn't expect that Chang Shangnan had already linked him with the worldly master. The reason why he asked Chang Shangnan to help make 2 plans, and the commission was secondary, mainly because since the system awakened, he was not thinking about it now. The system is so weird that I can't calm down and make plans. Just as Shen Jie was immersed in his work, through the transparent glass in the office area, he saw 3 people walking towards the bathroom in the corridor. The woman walking in front was tall, half a head taller than Chang Shangnan, wearing a pair of sunglasses that covered half of her face. The two men at the back are both over 1.8 meters tall, very strong looking, wearing crisp suits, like bodyguards. With their stature, they can even arm wrestle with Stallone. A few minutes later, the three of them returned to the door of the office area. The woman said something to the two men, and the two men walked towards the elevator, while the woman walked directly into the office area. Shen Ji's workstation was closest to the door, so he turned his chair and asked, "Hello, is there something wrong?" The woman took out her phone and looked at it, took off her sunglasses, revealing her pretty face, then clicked on the phone a few times, looked at Shen Ji and said, "It's you. Mr. Shen, can we chat for a few words?" Chapter 16. Number Big Deal, Uncle Ying taught me well. Shen Ji invited the woman to the reception room, poured her a glass of water, sat across from her and asked, "Do you know me? This must be the first time I see you, right?" The woman took out her ID and put it on the table, pushed it in front of Shen Ji, and said, "Hello, I am the person in charge of the Wrong City Special Policy Department, Police number *7, Dang Yuki." Special Policy Department? Shen Ji curiously picked up the ID and took a look at it. The half-length photo of the woman in police uniform made his eyes light up, but what interested him even more was the content on the ID. Special Incident Management and Safety Countermeasures Department. Police number *7 Dang Yuki, head of Wrong City District. Dang Yuki explained. To put it simply, we handle some special events that are not easy for ordinary police to handle in daily life, so we are also nicknamed the Miscellaneous Affairs Department. Well, so the first commandment of our department is there are no ghosts in this world? Shen Ji asked with a subtle expression. Dang Yuki smiled and said, "Ha, have you seen that movie too? I originally wanted to set up such a commandment, but it was rejected by everyone. It seems that there are more normal people in your unit." In fact, when he saw Dang Yuki's ID, Shen Ji's heart was already filled with huge waves. Even though it could be seen from the log that Weird had appeared a long time ago and that there was an organization targeting Weird, he did not expect that the other party would come to the door so quickly. What is her purpose in looking for herself? Investigation? Winning over? Or has another purpose? Shen Ji was still recalling whether he was seen by anyone other than Chang Shangnan and Xiao He when dealing with the strange things yesterday, and what the purpose of the people from the Special Policy Department was here. Hear Dang Yuki say, "I have no ill intentions, Mr. Shen, don't be nervous. I came here to ask Mr. Shen, has he encountered anything unusual recently? Is it okay to hit a wall when you meet a ghost?" Shen Ji asked straight to the point. Dang Yuki nodded. "Forget it. Oh, yesterday my colleague encountered a ghost breaking into the wall. After I found out, I lit a fire with alcohol and waste paper." Shen Ji said simply and clearly. "Can you tell us about the process in detail?" Dang Yuki asked. While speaking, Dang Yuki unlocked her phone, pressed it a few times, and pulled up a video. It was Shen Ji dealing with the strange scene on the rooftop. From when he pushed the cart to the water tank to burn his hair, to when he took the hair out and burned it completely, the scene was shot from the air behind Shen Ji. Finally, when he used a fire stick to dig out the fire and let the system devour the rat corpse, the image of the body suddenly disappearing was just blocked by his body. "This is." Shen Ji stared at the phone screen and frowned. Dang Yuki explained. "Yesterday at 6 p.m., a video shared by a blogger on a short video platform quickly received a large number of likes and became popular. But we immediately processed it after discovering it and found that blogger. He told us that he accidentally took the photo while conducting a drone test flight. So it is necessary to ban drones in urban areas," Shen Ji said seriously. Dang Yuki nodded and agreed. Yes, after all, if such a bizarre incident is known to the world, it will only cause unnecessary panic. "No, I mean it's okay to take pictures of these things. If a certain household is taking a bath, it will be a big loss," Shen Ji said. Dang Yuki said, "It seems that in Mr. Shen's eyes, this abnormal event is not surprising. Your methods are quite professional. Isn't this the first time you encounter this kind of thing?" "I've seen it a lot in movies, but this is the first time in reality," Shen Ji answered honestly. Dang Yuki raised her eyebrows. "Movie? Zombie Taoist, Return to the Soul Knight, The Exorcist of Tuadi." Shen Ji said, taking out a bag of chocolates from his pocket, and then said, "So I am used to carrying chocolates with me to prepare for tomorrow." Go buy a angry chicken and keep it as a pet. Oh, I also want to buy some firecrackers. But these things are probably not easy to buy in China. I'll see if I can order them from Bangsa country. After all, they are preparing to apply for World Heritage. Deng Yuqi felt that she couldn't keep up with Shen Zhe's brain circuit. This is not the first time Deng Yuqi has dealt with such a thing. These people are usually either curious, surprised, or scared, or they try every means to cover up or escape. It is unheard of for someone like Shen Zhe to generally admit, and also be suspected of shaking off the burden. Aren't you afraid? Deng Yuqi asked curiously. Shen Zhe said, a real man lives between heaven and earth, and he must asterisk the strong, support the weak, and save the common people. How can a mere ghost and evil defeat Horan's righteousness? Stop it, Mr. Shen. Let's talk about the details of yesterday's incident. Deng Yuqi finally figured out that Shen Zhe wanted to get along with Zini in this offline way. Although I don't know what the other party wants to do, if I continue like this, I am afraid I won't be able to find any useful information until tomorrow. The other party asked directly, and Shen Zhe briefly described what happened yesterday, including his guesses, the subsequent process of dealing with the weirdness, the hidden characteristics and the system. That's it. It's hard to imagine that Mr. Shen could be so calm when faced with such an incredible incident for the first time. Deng Yuqi praised. Shen Zhe waved his hand proudly. Little things, Uncle Ying taught me well. As long as you watch more movies, you can learn it too. Deng Yuqi felt that she was being led astray by Shen Zhe's brain circuit. Shen Zhe looked at Deng Yuqi seriously and asked, so I have passed the assessment and will be able to work as a messenger of justice with a certificate tomorrow? Mr. Shen, I'm afraid you have misunderstood. The agents in our department will undergo strict screening and training. However, in recognition of your behavior this time, you will be given a cash reward of about 20,000 yuan, Deng Yuqi said. Shen Zhe said with surprise on his face, 20,000 yuan? That much? It's almost enough to cover my week's salary. Okay. Deng Yuqi's expression suddenly froze. When can I get the money? Shen Zhe asked. Deng Yuqi said, I will chat with the other person involved in this incident later, and then I will register and report your information, and the money will be credited to your account within a week at most. Do you need me to take you to Mr. Cheng? Shen Zhe asked positively. No need to trouble you, just tell me where Ms. Cheng's office is. When Deng Yuqi opened the door and went out, she happened to see a woman who looked like a professional elite standing outside the general manager's office. Chang Shengnan had already noticed Deng Yuqi when he walked into the office area, but when he saw Shen Zhe inviting him into the reception room, he thought he was a client or acquaintance of Shen Zhe. Seeing Shen Zhe guiding Deng Yuqi towards him, Chang Shengnan was a little surprised. Hello, Ms. Chang, may I have a few words? Although Chang Shengnan was curious about what the other party wanted to do with him, he still invited him into his office. Shen Zhe looked at the closed door of the general manager's office and frowned slightly. He originally wanted to ask Deng Yuqi for some information about the special strategy department through jokes. But the other party was very cautious and basically did not reveal any useful information. He did not even admit the existence of ghosts and weirdness. He guided Shen Zhe from beginning to end to tell what happened yesterday. Shen Zhe now even suspected that a certain security guard on a publicly funded trip might have been taken away by people from the Special Policy Department. So, they have a way to detect weirdness. Chapter 17. Hello, the hearse you called is already in place. 20 minutes later, Shen Zhe was also invited into the office. Deng Yuqi said to the two of them, there are many wonders in the world. Even with the rapid development of science and technology, according to statistics, there are still hundreds of unsolved mysteries in the world. The two of them yesterday what we encountered was just an accidental incident. I have investigated the entire building with my colleagues and believe that such incidents will not happen again. Both of you also know that if accidental incidents like this are used by people with ulterior motives, they will have serious consequences. For example, those painful incidents back then are a tragic lesson for the country and the people. So in order to put an end to this kind of incident as the incident occurred, I hope the two of you can keep this matter confidential. As a thank you, the country will reward you. Deng Yuqi also emphasized to the two that while receiving the award, if Shen Zhe and Chang Shengnan deliberately leaked the incident to gain network attention and traffic, thereby causing social panic. The Special Policy Department has the right to prosecute and detain the parties involved. Control. Then, Deng Yuqi handed Shen Jie and Chang Shengnan a business card respectively. This is my contact number. If you too encounter similar incidents in the future, please call me or the number of the Special Policy Department as soon as possible. Come and deal with this kind of incident, don't take risks. It doesn't sound like an accident. Shen Jie looked at the business card and said in a casual tone. Deng Yuqi really wanted to take back Shen Xingzong's business card. If it wasn't for work, she wouldn't even want to see this person again in the future. Chatting with him was torture. Well, if there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first. You too, if you have any other relevant clues, you can call the Special Strategy Department at any time. Deng Yuqi stood up and walked towards the door. Before I reached the door, I heard my cell phone ringing. Looking back, she saw Shen Jie holding up his cell phone and raising it towards her. Oh, I'm just trying to see if I can get through. Although you can't expect to call for rescue troops at critical moments, it's also very troublesome when you encounter supernatural events and the phone can't get through. It's a headache. Officer Deng, remember to buy a mobile phone with a better signal. Goodbye. No, never see you again. Deng Yuqi left the office area without looking back. Shen Jie stood at the door of the general manager's office and watched the other person walk into the elevator. He asked Chang Shengnan beside him, Yuanfang, what do you think? Before she came, I thought this was just an accident. However, our country actually has a department that specializes in dealing with such incidents. It doesn't look like an accident. By the way, in the entire TV series, Renji, there is no such line as you. Chang Shengnan said lightly. Although Shen Jie knew about the strange existence through the system, as Chang Shengnan said, our country has established a department to deal with such incidents, which means that the situation is worse than he imagined. Obviously, the end of the world 3 years later does not start from zero. Perhaps the weirdness already existed when ghosts and strange stories appeared. It was just that it could be suppressed before, but 3 years later it exploded. So we still move the office? Shen Jie asked. Chang Shengnan's eyes trembled, and he said helplessly, why is your focus always so strange? Shouldn't you be panicking about unknown events now? Soldiers come to cover up the water and earth, and even if the sky collapses, there will be a high one to hold it up. Since you and I can't prevent this kind of incident from happening, it's better to calm down and deal with it calmly when encountering such an incident, Shen Jie said with a smile. Chang Shengnan felt that she was not as calm as Shen Jie. The appearance of Deng Yuqi and the Special Strategy Department made her worried about yesterday's incident. As soon as Shen Jie returned to his workstation and sat down, Lao Jiao came over and said, hey, who is that beautiful woman? An acquaintance, or is she your client? Potential customers. Then have you left your phone number? Let me add you on WeChat too. You don't ask for it when the person is here, but you ask for it from me when the person is gone. Please, you will be complained if you leak customer information casually, Shen Jie said helplessly. Alas. It's a pity that I missed an opportunity to meet a beautiful woman. Shen Jie chatted casually with Lao Jiao. While doing his work, he took out his mobile phone and browsed short videos, wanting to see if there was any fish that slipped through the net in yesterday's video. Dick. At this time, a text message popped up. Dear Baba user, your coupon has arrived. Choose Baba for travel, which is safe and saves money. The maximum instant compensation for picking up without a car is 15 yuan. Click asterisk to reject, please reply R. Taxi coupons. The company is only a few hundred meters away from the subway entrance. Except for taking a taxi when Shen Jie is about to be late, Shen Jie usually takes the subway to work. But today's daily routine was done. There was no need to go to the supermarket to buy anything, and after running 10 kilometers in the morning, Shen Jie really didn't have the energy to run home after get off work, so he immediately decided to use this coupon. After getting off work, Shen Jie walked out of the company, took out his mobile phone and opened the Baba app to take a taxi. It's only 2 yuan after deducting the coupon, and it's still a private car. Not bad, not bad. After Shen Jie picked up the car, he continued to watch short videos. After waiting for 2 minutes, a text message popped up. Hello, the special car you ordered is already on its way. Shen Jie opened the Baba app, which showed that the special car was parked on the roadside on the right. When he looked up, he saw a black car with a red flag. Shen Jie walked over, opened the door and sat in the back seat. The driver started the car directly, and the screen on the car's monitor also switched to the map screen with the sound of, "Start navigating for you now." The driver was a middle-aged man who drove the car with an expressionless face, but Shen Jie always had a strange feeling. It would be fine if it was an ordinary express train. The special car drivers of Ba Ba Company have all been trained and are required to drive on the customer's behalf. After the car, I checked the last number on my phone, but the driver didn't say a word to Shen Jie from beginning to end. "Master, Changhua Avenue must be very congested at this point. Why not go around Erxian Bridge?" Shen Jie took the initiative to chat with the driver about the route. The driver did not answer and continued to drive. "Master, you are speeding." Shen Jie looked at the speed on the dashboard, which was about to reach 100 yards, and looked out the window. The strange thing was that there were not many cars on the road that was originally the most congested during the evening rush hour. The ride was smooth and the driver continued to speed up. 100, 110, 120. You can drive up to 120 in the city, Master Chu Mingshan. Shen Jie leaned on the corner of the back seat, supporting the back of the front seat with his feet. In a daze, he looked at the driver again, and was surprised to find that the driver turned into a headless, wooden man. In the blink of an eye, he returned to the cold-faced middle-aged man. "The car is still accelerating. If it hits any obstacle at this speed, the car will be destroyed immediately and everyone will be killed. Strange? At such a close distance, the system has no warning." Shen Jie frowned slightly and thought of a possibility. If this weird thing didn't exist 4 years later, wouldn't the system give a warning? Shen Jie looked through the windshield at the road ahead. There was not a single car on the road now. If the driver didn't turn the steering wheel hard and keep the car moving forward, there would be no danger for the time being, but it was not an option to keep driving like this. On the one hand, Shen Jie paid attention to the driver's movements and used a move at any time to stop the driver from doing some naughty things. At the same time, he took out his mobile phone and made a call. Soon, the call was connected. "Hello, Officer Deng, I think I've hit a ghost again." Chapter 18. Strange space. When Deng Yuki heard this voice that gave her a headache, her first reaction was to hang up the phone. Her second reaction was, "What kind of special physique does this guy have?" Others may not encounter a weird event once in their lifetime, but you happen to do it twice in 2 days? Although Deng Yuki is somewhat resistant to talking to Shen Jie, he is also a person with professional ethics. The most important thing now is to appease the emotions of the person involved. "Mr. Shen, don't be nervous. We have rich experience in handling this kind of incident and will definitely help you get out of danger. Then, please tell me first where you are now and what kind of situation you have encountered. I will respond immediately." Shen Jie said calmly. "I came out of the company and called a special car through the Baba app to go home from Chenghong Road towards Changhua Avenue, but I'm not sure if I'm still on this road. Because now the whole road is I suspect that my car is a ghost." Speaking, Shen Jie described the situation of the special car and driver to Deng Yuki in detail. As he was telling the story, he heard the sound of typing on the keyboard on the other end of the phone. "Understood. Mr. Shen, please stay on the phone. Agents from the Special Policy Department have been dispatched and will investigate from your company and Changhua Road." Deng Yuki comforted Shen Jie while dispatching his subordinates. Then, Shen Jie heard the sound of rapid footsteps and the sound of starting a car on the other end of the phone. Apparently, Deng Yuki, the head of the Wrong City Special Policy Department, also called the police. "Mr. Shen, what's the situation over there now? Please describe to me the situation outside the window." Deng Yuki's voice became softer, probably because she had put on a Bluetooth headset. "Judging from the shops on both sides of the road, it should be Changhong Road. After driving into Changhua Avenue, the car will return to where I picked up the bus at the company. It has been repeated about 3 or 4 times since I got on the bus." Shen Jie's special car kept speeding on the streets of Changhong Road. He even suspected that he might not have left the place where he got on the car from the beginning to the end, which was similar to what happened to Chang Shengnan and Xiao He yesterday. It should be that he was pulled into a strange, weird space by a strange influence. Because after Chang Shengnan and Xiao He became invisible, they were not just invisible, but at the same time, people and objects could pass through their bodies, as if they had become soul bodies, or experience strange things. after the impact, in a different space. Hearing that Shen Jie could still remain calm under such circumstances and talk about the surrounding environment and his own speculations, Deng Yuqi was suddenly a little surprised. This is not the first time she has dealt with ordinary citizens encountering strange incidents, but most of the time the people involved are so frightened and panicked that they cannot even communicate normally, let alone state their own situation. "Mr. Shen, what is the speed of the car now?" Deng Yuqi asked. Shen Jie glanced sideways at the dashboard and replied, 120. Deng Yuqi's heart sank. The car was traveling so fast. Even if he could find a special car, if he tried to force it to a stop by other vehicles, it would most likely cause the rescue vehicle to skid and lose control. Deng Yuqi pressed the mute button, picked up the special intercom of the Special Policy Department and said, "Deploy 2 rescue vehicles to the company where the person is located, as soon as possible. The primary goal of this operation is to first find the center of influence of the strange space, and have Team 2 bring strange detection equipment to start the investigation from outside the party's company building. Team 1 is divided into 2 teams. You take the sniper to find a good sniper position nearby. If Team 2 can break through the strange space, you stay on guard before the vehicle is stopped. Others go to Chenghong Road and cooperate. The traffic police blocked the entire road, and the reason? You decide for yourself." After Deng Yuqi made arrangements, he called Shen Jie again to appease his mood. "Mr. Shen, how is the situation over there?" "It's not good, the speed is 130. Shen Jie replied. "This speed may not be fast for a drag racing game, but when driving to 130 in urban areas, there is a risk of car crash and death at any time. Special agents from the Special Policy Department are already in position near your company. When we determine the scope and location of this incident, we can rescue you," Deng Yuqi reassured. Shen Jie asked curiously, "Officer Deng, I'm very curious. How do you name such incidents? For a high-level department like yours, every operation will be given an operation code name, right? For example, chill, typhoon, storm." "Sorry, we just want to help Mr. Shen out of danger as soon as possible, and we have already started the deployment without setting up an operation code." Deng Yuqi was speechless. "Brother, at this time, whether you are scared, crying in fear, whatever you want is fine, but no as for whether you still want to make fun of me. You are the victim. Can you respect the weirdness for a moment?" "Oh, then what do you usually call this kind of ghost breaking the wall incident? You don't have to keep it a secret from me in this situation, right? The more information you have about this situation, the greater my chance of escaping." Shen Jie changed the subject and tried to get Deng Yuqi to reveal some information. Deng Yuqi pondered. Since such incidents are only occasional incidents, there have only been 6 incidents in the past few years since I entered the Special Policy Department. Therefore, we do not have much information. However, according to expert research, these special incidents have one thing in common. The affected person will be pulled into a special space, which we call a strange space. Just like the incident you encountered yesterday, the 2 ladies were pulled into the weird space under the influence of the weird. The weird space, and we live in a different world, so you can neither see nor touch them when they are affected. There are usually 2 ways to crack the weird space. One is to find the weaknesses that affect the weirdness of this weird space, like you did yesterday, and break the space through the weaknesses. The second is to find the laws in the weird space, and then cracking the mysterious space inside. A strange space? Hearing this word, Shen Jie's final doubts about the weird immobility in the past 2 days were solved. As long as he is affected by the weirdness that has a weird space, he will be in a different space. The mysterious space has such an effect. I don't know how dangerous the high-level strange realm is. Based on the information fed back by the system, there is a big difference between uncanny space and uncanny domain, and the latter can even affect the surrounding environment. For example, in the previous special event of crossing the road, the system repeatedly reminded that the surrounding environment would undergo drastic changes due to the influence of the mysterious realm. But this is all for later, the most important thing now is to stop the speeding car first. Shen Jie tried to find some clues by looking inside the car and outside the window. While observing, he said to his mobile phone, "Officer Deng, you only encountered 6 strange incidents in the few years you joined the Special Policy Department. I encountered them twice in 2 days. Could it be that I is he the legendary chosen one?" Dang Yuki wanted to say, "You are indeed unlucky," but thinking that this situation would not affect the mood of the person involved, she could only agree against her will. In a sense, it is true. Then why don't you hurry up and recruit me into the special policy department? With me here, your performance will increase not only 10 times, but at least 9 times, Shenjie said. Dang Yuki. My salary requirements are not high, just higher than what I have now. If possible, Dang Yuki really doesn't want to answer the call. At this time, I heard Shenjie say, "It's not an option to wait like this. I decided to squeeze in with the driver and let Wei Yi see how powerful I, an honorary citizen of Los Santos, am." Mr. Shen, Chapter 19. I am a veteran need for speed player. Dang Yuki became anxious upon hearing this and quickly advised, "Mr. Shen, please calm down. I have arrived near your company and am cooperating with the Special Strategy Department agents to conduct a strange space investigation. If according to what you said, the vehicle is in the driving at high speed, any action you take may lead to car crash and death, please trust us." Dang Yuki's biggest headache is people like Shenjie who don't want to be honest. She even regrets that Shenjie is not one of those victims who become paralyzed with fear when encountering something strange. After all, at times like this, those people would just huddle in the corner and tremble, instead of seeking death. In fact, following the instructions and orders from above, minimizing the impact of strange incidents is the core of the establishment of the Special Policy Department, followed by the safety of the parties involved. But Dang Yuki doesn't think so. She believes that as the person in charge of the weird incidents in Wrong City, she must do everything possible to ensure the safety of citizens involved in the weird incidents and minimize the impact of the weird incidents. She has been working hard in this direction. As a member of a police family, Dang Yuki has been influenced by the educational philosophy of being worthy of the uniform since she was a child. So when she received a call from Shenjie, as the head of the Wrong City Special Policy Department, she was supposed to stay at the command center, but she still went to the scene as soon as possible. However, according to feedback from the 2 teams of detectives who have arrived, the situation at the scene is not optimistic. The first is the biggest problem that has arisen from the rapid development of Wrong City in recent years, the evening rush hour. When there were still 2 streets away from Shenjie's company, the traffic jam was already so heavy that it was difficult to move forward, not to mention that she planned to block the route of Shenjie's speeding car. The sudden blockade also caused a huge traffic jam. Only one of the 2 rescue vehicles dispatched successfully reached the vicinity of Shen's company. Luckily, the 2 teams responsible for detecting the strange space are already in place and are quickly conducting investigations, but the 1 team responsible for coordinating the attack is still stuck on the road at this time. So sometimes it's not that the rescue is not timely, but that it's really blocked. Dang Yuki got out of the car and stopped a young man riding a scooter. He took out his ID and said, "Hello, I'm from the city's first bureau. I'm chasing criminals now and need to requisition your nervous beauty. You have watched too many movies. Sorry, I have to deliver food." The young man ignored Dang Yuki, turned around and rode directly onto the sidewalk, and ran away. Although Dang Yuki is very beautiful, young people don't want to get into a battery car. Dang Yuki was speechless. At this time, Shenji's voice could be faintly heard in the Bluetooth headset. "Hey, master, if you don't mind, move to the side. The driver's seat of your car is quite spacious. How about we squeeze in? You have been driving for so long before the speed reached 130. Your skills are not good. Let me do it. I am a senior need for speed player." This idiot. Dang Yuki suddenly felt dizzy, so she glanced at a shared bicycle and took a shortcut towards Shenji's company, leaving passers-by stunned. "Wow, are you a beautiful girl who is an extreme sports enthusiast? Can you enjoy the same with shared bicycles? Holy shit. Uncle Long is possessed. It's flying, she's flying. Tisk, tisk, tisk. The Passat in the middle is so unfair, there's a mark on the roof. You can't overwhelm the A8 next to you, right?" At this moment, Dang Yuki was really like Uncle Long, playing extreme sports on a shared bicycle. The entrance to the pedestrian street was blocked by a Passat and an A8. In the end, she chose the cheaper one, lifted the front of the bicycle and rode over it. The uncle in the car was so frightened that he almost swallowed the cigarette butt. When Dang Yuki was speeding all the way, Shenjie was also speeding all the way. After many tests, he found that the driver was really like a wooden man. Even if he slapped his face with the front and back of his sneakers, the other driver would still be a slap in the face at every turn. Shen Jie squeezed into the gear position and stretched out his foot to kick the driver's foot away to prevent him from pressing the accelerator. But the driver's wooden body couldn't push it at all. Although most cars have a BOSS brake priority system, it is a system that allows the driver to stop the car by depressing the brake pedal even when the accelerator is fully depressed. But it can still stop in an emergency at a few dozen yards, and if it exceeds 100 yards, a car with a narrow range can perform a Thomas Gyro on the spot. Shen Jie tentatively stretched out his foot to step on the brake. Just when his foot was about to touch the pedal, a black light suddenly appeared in the driver's eyes. Caw. Caw. The driver's head slowly turned to the right. Every time it turned, there was a sound like a broken neck and cracked bones. Fortunately, while Shen Jie took action, he kept his attention on the driver and saw that the driver had something to say. Action, seized the opportunity of a 1-second pause, and immediately used the characteristic, immobility. Shen Jie's shadow seemed to come alive, moving forward quickly from his side, shaking and covering the driver's body. At this moment, Shen Jie suddenly discovered that the street that originally seemed to be driving at night seemed to be distorted the moment he turned on immobility. Night and dusk alternate, and two different worlds seemed to overlap. Shen Jie was in a trance for a while, and even saw some vehicles appearing on the street in front of him, but they disappeared again in just a moment. According to the current time, the normal world is indeed in the twilight stage. Space collision? Shen Jie thought of the strange immobility that made Chang Shengnan invisible yesterday and also pulled him into the strange space. And now he uses a movement to control the driver, which also pulls the driver into the weird space, and the driver, as a weird person, has his own weird space. When two strange spaces collide, distortion will occur. However, Shen Jie's mental power is decreasing at a rate of 10% per second. His 166% mental power can only sustain immobility for 16 seconds at most. Just when he was having a headache, whether to release the space first and see what the driver was going to do next, or to stay still until his mental energy was exhausted and see if he could be pulled out of the driver's space. Suddenly, there was a roar of cars on the road on the left, and then two beams of high beam lights came from behind. Mr. Shen, I have driven the rescue vehicle into the strange space. Please stay calm and don't do anything unnecessary. I will find a way to rescue you. At this moment, Dang Yuki's voice rang on the phone. A few minutes ago, Dang Yuki relied on her superb driving skills to take a shortcut from the pedestrian street to the outside of Shen's company and met up with Team 2. But according to the clues provided by Shen Jie, Dang Yuki and others did not find the black suspicious vehicle on the street on the right side outside the company. If you can't find the source, you can't decipher the mysterious space. Even though time was tight and the situation was critical, the Special Planning Department could only use the most basic means to conduct a blanket search. Just when everyone was at a loss, the detectors suddenly detected a strange space on the right side of the building next to the parking lot. The energy fluctuations. Although it is only for a moment, it is indeed the distortion caused by the collision of strange spaces. Who used the trick equipment? Dang Yuki asked on the intercom. The agents in charge of the trick energy equipment all denied it. As a senior agent, Huo Yu said, "Head, could it be a collision in the weird space?" Shen Jie also has treacherous equipment. Seeing that the twisted fluctuations in the strange space were getting smaller and smaller, as if they were about to disappear at any time, Dang Yuki didn't have time to think too much, jumped into the driver's seat of the rescue vehicle, started the car and rushed towards the twisted strange space. Chapter 20. Fast and Furious 11. Car racing. Shen Jie's accidental collision caused distortion in the strange space, and Dang Yuki seized the opportunity to drive the rescue vehicle of the Special Strategy Department into the strange space. The rescue vehicle of the Special Policy Department is modified on the basis of military off-road use. Since the enemies it faces are strange, it focuses on adding or subtracting hardness and functionality. As a result, the speed of the car was greatly reduced, resulting in the maximum speed of only 110 yards per hour. But in the face of strange battles and reinforcements, they almost always race against time and race against death. In today's situation, Shen Ji's special car was a Hongqi EQM5, which could run up to 130 yards at its fastest speed. Even if the rescue vehicle entered a strange space and could not catch up, it would not be able to stop the strangeness. Hence, the technical staff of the Special Policy Department adopted the simplest and crudest method of speeding up. Nitrogen accelerates. Speaking of nitrogen acceleration, even if you don't know how to drive, anyone who has watched Family Man or played a racing game is familiar with it. When nitrogen acceleration is started, nitrous oxide will enter the inside of the engine and decompose into oxygen after being heated, allowing the engine to burn more fuel, increase power, and accelerate the car instantly. Even with the modifications of technicians, the rescue vehicle can increase its speed by 30% to 40% through nitrogen acceleration, but it will take a certain amount of time from the start to the maximum speed. At this time, the rescue vehicle maintains high-speed movement throughout the entire process, with a speed of 130 in the blink of an eye. It becomes an elongated taillight. However, Deng Yuki remembered a detail Shen Jie told her. As long as the car drove through Chenghong Road, it would return to the intersection, which was equivalent to running repeatedly on a stretch of road. Deng Yuki simply slowed down and kept a constant speed. 2 minutes later, 2 car lights came on from behind, and the car passed by from behind. But this time Deng Yuki was well prepared and immediately started the nitrogen acceleration, speeding up instantly to catch up with the trick car. Nitrogen acceleration in reality is obviously not as outrageous as in movies and games, but the effect is also amazing. In the blink of an eye, the explosion-proof car can catch up with the trick car. Deng Yuki pressed a button on the side of the steering wheel, and a steel pipe stretched out from the middle of the rescue vehicle's bumper. At the same time, she said to the phone, "Mr. Shen, I will use the rescue vehicle's front anchor device to hook the rear of the rescue vehicle and try to pull it off." He forced it to stop. Soon, Shen Ji's voice sounded from the Bluetooth headset. "Officer Deng, if you don't want to collect the body for me, you'd better hurry up." At this time, Deng Yuki saw through the rear windshield of the car in front that Shen Jie was leaning on the right corner of the back seat, while the driver of the car was slightly to the right and his head was turned 180 degrees. Suddenly, the expressionless car driver suddenly opened his mouth wide, and then his upper and lower jaws instantly expanded to the size that he could swallow a human head. Shen Jie swerved to the left, reached out and grabbed the driver's seat belt, got up and wrapped it around the driver's head several times. But the seat belts were stretched straight, and they could not pull the driver back to his seat. Deng Yuki felt bad when she saw this, and was about to speed up and hit the car when she saw Shen Jie turning to one side and reaching out as if to grab something from under the seat. The next second, Shen Jie directly stuffed a shoe into the driver's mouth, and seemed to feel that one shoe was not enough, so he immediately stuffed another shoe. Deng Yuki was in a somewhat subtle mood. Although she wanted to complain, it was more important to stop the car at this time, so she speeded up and hit the car again. Boom! The sharp steel pipe at the front of the rescue vehicle first pierced the rear compartment of the rescue vehicle, followed by 2 click sounds of metal collision. The front end of the steel pipe pierced into the rear compartment opened and turned into an octopus shape. The rear compartment of the strange car was tightly hooked. Deng Yuki has turned off the nitrogen acceleration at this time and is using a special braking device developed by technicians to slow down the rescue vehicle. However, at this moment, Deng Yuki saw Shen Jie take out a water bottle and pour water on the shoes that were stuffed into the driver's mouth. Then, Shen Jie took out a lighter and lit it. Phew! 2 shoes ignited a fire and instantly engulfed the driver's head. This is not water at all, but alcohol. The flames burned very quickly, and the fire spread to the whole body of the driver in an instant, as if he was really a wood burning at a moment's notice. Mr. Shen. Deng Yuki obviously didn't expect that Shen Jie was not afraid of the weirdness, but could even think of using this method to deal with the weirdness. But, brother, you are in the car too. However, if he had a choice, Shen Jie would not be willing to take such a risk, but his mental energy was exhausted 2 minutes ago. As soon as the immobile state of the characteristic was lifted, the driver of the trick car started to move. Although the 180-degree turn of the head was very scary, what was even more scary was that Shen Jie saw a pale and terrifying ghost face in his mouth. The ghost face in the driver's mouth became clearer and clearer, and Shen Jie didn't know what the consequences would be when he fully stretched out. Even though Shen Jie is very curious, he will not make fun of his own life. The fire in the driver's seat quickly began to spread, and Shen Jie could only huddle in the right corner of the back seat. At this time, the temperature in the car increased rapidly, and the thick smoke choked Shen Jie to tears. The car doors and windows were locked. Shen Jie took off his clothes, wrapped them around his arms, and slammed the windows. At the same time, Deng Yuki controlled the rescue vehicle to continuously slow down, and the speed quickly dropped to 100, then 80, 60. With a clang sound, Shen Jie smashed open the window and breathed in the fresh air from outside. The fire had spread to the back seat, and he could only smash all the broken glass on the window with all his strength. 40. The speed of the car had dropped to 40 yards. The moment Shen Jie smashed the window, there was a loud bang, and the car seemed to hit a car. At this time, the dusk and night in the sky began to distort again, and the strange car rushed out of the strange space and crashed into the car in front. Shen Jie hit the passenger seat due to inertia, and the flames even burned his hair and clothes, but because of the collision, the car stopped. Upon seeing this, Shen Jie stretched out the car window with both hands, buckled the roof cover, and got out of the car window. A car on fire suddenly appeared out of thin air on a congested street, causing panic and commotion. Some cars tried to find a way to change lanes, but the car behind them didn't even intend to give way and crashed directly into it. Some were worried that the burning car would explode. I actually hit the car next to me and fled to the sidewalk. For a time, the whole street fell into chaos. At this time, Deng Yuki issued an order to the people of the Special Policy Department through the walkie-talkie to evacuate the people, and at the same time rushed towards the burning car with a fire extinguisher can. "You're not going to put out the fire, are you?" Shen Jie asked Deng Yuki. Deng Yuki said, "This is a special gas to deal with weirdness.